About 3 years ago, I built an Airbnb clone using FlutterFlow and Supabase, and it was a solid proof of concept. We relied on FlutterFlow for our UI and Supabase for Auth, database, and core CRUD operations, but today no-code tooling has leaped forward. We're still using FlutterFlow and Supabase as our foundation, and now we're supercharging our workflow with Claude MCP, which turns plain English prompts like show 3-bedroom apartments under $150 a night, get available dates for listing X, or build a form with title and images and price into live data queries and dynamic widget schemas via Claude functions. And Cursor AI, which scaffolds and refactors our Supabase functions, RLS policies, and FlutterFlow custom code in seconds. No boilerplate, all focus on logic. And we're going to be using these tools to power StayFinder, our next generation Airbnb clone, covering Auth flows in Supabase, a search and map screen powered by Claude MCP NL to query engine, a listing detail page with availability calendars and booking logic, and backend functionality using FlutterFlow Cloud functions, including creating Stripe checkout sessions and handling payment success webhooks to finalize bookings. First, we have FlutterFlow, which is our visual ID for screens, widgets, and navigations. Next, we have Supabase, which handles Auth, database, RLS, and real-time all in one package. Following, we have Claude MCP, which is powered by FlutterFlow Cloud functions, and it transforms plain English prompts into live data queries and JSON schemas. And last but definitely not least, we have Cursor AI, which is our dev assistant that scaffolds and refactors Supabase functions, security policies, and FlutterFlow custom code in mere seconds. Here's how it all fits together at a glance. User interactions hit the FlutterFlow UI. Static CRUD calls go straight to Supabase for Auth, database, RLS, and real-time. When we need AI-driven widgets such as maps, calendars, forms, and charts, FlutterFlow invokes our Claude MCP Cloud functions, which in turn interpret prompts, query Supabase, and return structured JSON. Meanwhile, Cursor AI lives alongside our dev process, auto-generating and refactoring Cloud functions and custom code to keep boilerplate out of our way. Next, let's set up our Supabase backend, schema, security, and real-time in under 2 minutes. First, a quick 20-second schema tour. Profiles holds each user and host. Things like ID, name, avatar is host. Listings captures property details, title, address, coordinates, pricing, guest counts. Listing photos stores ordered image URLs. To tag Wi-Fi or pool, we use amenities and the join table listing amenities. Bookings tracks reservations with dates, guest count, total price, and status. Messages links chat to each booking, and reviews store post-stay feedback with ratings and comments. And that's our data model in one quick sweep. Next, I'm going to go ahead and create a Supabase project for our new app. With the project created, I'm going to go ahead and create all the tables we've just reviewed. Now that our tables are in place, let's lock down access with row-level security so users can only see the data that they should. First, in profiles, each user can only read and update their own record. In listings, we allow public reads of active properties and let hosts manage only their own listings. For bookings, guests see their reservations and hosts see bookings on their properties. And we'll do the same thing for the other tables. And with our database defined and secured, we are all set to build the UI in FlutterFlow. Here in FlutterFlow, we're going to create a new project and connect it to our Supabase database. First up, let's build our Auth screen in FlutterFlow. Next, we need to enable authentication. Next, I'm going to jump back into Supabase and create an account. Now we can run our new app and attempt to log in as the user we've just created. Let's go ahead and log in. And as you can see, we have successfully logged in into our app. The next thing we're going to be working on is the listing page. And on the listing page, we're going to have the map view as well as the standard listing view. Now we also want to have a map view display, and we want the user to choose which view they prefer. So they'll be able to switch between a standard list view and a map view. Now, when dealing with Google Maps, you want to make sure that you have your Google Maps API key. And this is the key right here. And you can simply get it by going to Google Cloud Console and getting a key and making sure that you have this Google Maps API enabled. Next, we want to make sure that the logged in page is the listings page here. Now, at this point, we are ready to start building our cloud function. So you want to go into here and you want to go ahead and create your cloud function. We're going to call it get available listings. You want to click here and create a boilerplate. And now you want to select your return value as well as define your parameters. So the return value is going to be a list of JSONs, and a parameter that we're going to be accepting is going to be a query. You want to click here again, overwrite all this, and now you want to save your cloud function. And once you've saved it, you're ready to jump into your AI coding. right? So you want to click over here, and that's going to go ahead and open this project in Visual Studio Code. Now, because I'm going to be using Cursor instead of Visual Studio Code, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on Terminal. And with Cursor installed, I'm going to type cursor dot, and that's going to go ahead and open this entire project in Cursor. So if I do that, now I have this entire project loaded in Cursor. Next, you want to expand Firebase, custom cloud functions, and select this cloud function. And now you want to give it a prompt that's going to go ahead and create this cloud function for you. Now, I went ahead and built a prompt here, and this is what the prompt looks like. Create a Firebase callable cloud function in JavaScript. It should take in a user query like apartments in Berlin from April 10 to May 10. Use Claude 3 Haiku to turn the query into structured JSON. Okay, so Claude is going to parse this whole thing out, and then we're going to send this to Supabase and get back available listings. Okay, so now what you want to do is you want to execute this, and that's going to go ahead and build out this cloud function for you. All right, so that went ahead and created this cloud function for us. And the idea is the user enters a free form query, and Claude is going to parse all of this out. We're going to send it to our database, and then it's going to spit out the available listings. Okay, so with this cloud function here, next you want to click on push to FlutterFlow. And back in FlutterFlow, you should see this cloud function here. So with this cloud function here, you want to go ahead and save it, and then you want to deploy it. And at this point, our cloud function has been successfully deployed on the cloud. And the next thing you want to do is you want to test out this cloud function, okay? And the way that you do it is you simply send a post request to this URL, okay? And you want to make sure that you have your region specified. This is my region, this is my project, and this is going to be the same for everybody. And this is the name of the function, right? Get available listings. And this is how you send the request, okay? So if I send a request that I'm looking for a listing in New York, I'm going to get a response that looks something like this. Now, if I send a request that I'm looking for a listing in Aspen, I'm going to get a different kind of response. And also one listing, because we only have one listing in New York and one listing in Aspen, as you can see in our database, right? So here we have our listings table, and we have one listing in New York, one in Aspen. If I write something like Miami, and we don't have anything in Miami, we should get an empty response. And if I put Aspen back, we should get a listing right here, okay? So with the function successfully working, we are now ready to connect it to our app. And before you do that, you want to create a page state variable that will get the data from this cloud function and populate it on the screen. So with the page selected, so now I'm going to go ahead and create a page state variable. It's going to be an array, a list of JSONs. And I also want to make sure that this list view is fed from that page state variable. Next, I want to execute the cloud function when the user clicks on search. We're going to pass in the query from the widget state. And if everything is fine, we're simply going to write to our page state variable. Otherwise, we're just going to display a message. And this way, when the user presses search, it's going to execute the cloud function, get the available listings, and then populate them here via the page state variable. Let's go ahead and test our app. And so now when I run my app and I specify this query, find available listings in Aspen from May 1st, 25 to May 9, 25, and I hit search, I get just one listing, okay? And the same thing happens if I specify something like New York. Okay, so the only thing that's left is to set up this data so that it displays the actual listing. This is title, this is description, this is price per night. And once we execute this query, this is what we get back. Okay, so this is for Aspen, mountain cabin, secluded cabin retreat, $200 per night. And let's say we try New York, urban loft, stylish downtown loft, 180. Let's go ahead and format this correctly. Just use an inline function. And now we can format it. Custom formatting, displays currency. Now the formatting looks a lot better. Next, we're going to create a details screen. And on the details screen, we're going to have some cool functionality that's going to display some nearby landmarks. And that is going to be done using Claude MCP. And this is what the detail page looks like. We are centering on the property. We have some information here. And the next thing that I want to do is I want to add a Claude MCP functionality that's going to get us the landmarks like coffee shops, things like that. And for that, we need to jump back into Cursor and generate this Cloud function. And so here I am back in Cursor. We're going to pull our latest project from FlutterFlow. Now back in FlutterFlow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another Cloud function here. And I'm going to say get nearby landmarks. And the return value is going to be the same as before. It's going to be a list of JSONs. And for the parameters, we're going to be passing the listing ID as well as the type of landmark that we're looking for. Okay, so this is going to be the listing ID here. And this is going to be the type of landmark, which is going to say landmark type. Same thing. Now we generate the boilerplate. We save this. And we jump back into Cursor and we pull the latest. Okay, so now if you go into custom Cloud functions, we have get nearby landmarks here. This is just the boilerplate now, and that is why we're going to be using this to generate it for us. I'm going to go ahead and use the following prompt to generate a Cloud function, create a Firebase on-call function. This is the input here that loads loads the listings information from Supabase, uses Claude MCP to build a Google Place nearby search URL, fetches the Places API, returns a JSON of all of the information, right? So we're doing a lot of work and we're doing it in the background. We're not wasting the client's time. I'm going to go ahead and generate this. And this is the result that we have. I went ahead and filled in all the API keys as well. I'm going to go ahead and push this to FlutterFlow. When I jump back into FlutterFlow, this is the function that I have here. Next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and deploy it. So now we've successfully deployed this function. And the next thing that I highly, highly recommend is you test out the function, okay? And so this is how your test is going to look like. You're going to be sending a post request to this URL, okay? We have the location, we have the name of the project, we have cloudfunctions.net, which is going to be the same for everybody. We have the name of the function. This is what the request looks like, and the result is going to look something like this. So let me go ahead and execute this. I'm using listing ID 4, which is that New York property, and that is why you're going to be seeing New York stuff, right? Gregory's Coffee, New York, New York. So let me go ahead and format this so that you can see it. You see all of these New York locations. If I switch this to another one, it should hopefully display other properties near that location. Okay, so now we have Aspen. And by the way, these landmarks are being displayed within a mile of this property. That is completely adjustable. You can make it as tight of a radius as you want or as big of a radius as you want, okay? And so now that you've tested everything out, everything works, we are ready to jump back into FlutterFlow and implement this functionality on the detail page. And because we're going to be loading these landmarks by executing this cloud function, what we want to do is we want to create a page state variable that's going to store the results. Next, we want to execute this when the page loads and store the results in the page state variable. Just going to use coffee shops for the landmark type. And if it's successful, we're going to save the results in the page state variable. Otherwise, we can simply display a message so that the user knows that something is wrong. And when we test this app again, we can see that my landmarks is being populated by the landmarks here. So this is now a page state values here for this variable. And that means we can easily display them here. And here we can display the name and the vicinity and maybe the rating. And this is the result. We have the map, we have some information, then we have the landmarks that we can scroll through that we got thanks to Claude MCP, which is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, right? There's lots of things happening in the background, and that would be very, very tricky to do in the front end using FlutterFlow. And that is why I strongly prefer doing it using cloud functions, which are integrated into FlutterFlow. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to give the user the ability to book this place on different dates, okay? And for that, we're going to build a custom widget that will display the calendar, but will also have a Claude MCP backend cloud function that's going to give us the unavailable dates. And so that way we can take the unavailable dates and mark them on the calendar so that they're either grayed out or they're crossed over, and that way they won't be able to select those dates, okay? And so for that, we're gonna create this custom widget first, and then we're gonna create the Claude MCP service, this cloud function, to give us the unavailable dates. Gonna come over here and we're going to create a custom widget. Next, we need to define our parameters, and we are really going to be only working with two parameters. The first parameter is going to determine what happens when the user selects the date, and the other parameter is going to be the unavailable dates that we're going to be supplying so that they're marked differently and unselectable on the widget. And now we're going to jump into our cursor, pull the app from FlutterFlow. We're going to jump into custom code widgets, and we have this new calendar widget, okay? And now we're going to ask our AI agent to go ahead and generate this widget for us. And here's the prompt that we're going to be using. You're an expert Flutter Dart developer using the FlutterFlow custom widget template. Generate a calendar widget that does all this. And by the way, for our amazing Patreon subscribers, I'm going to be making all of these prompts available to you guys so that you can experiment with them and see how they work. All right, and this is our custom widget that was just created. We're going to go ahead and push all of this to FlutterFlow. And here's the custom widget inside of FlutterFlow. Now, we do need to add a dependency here. And that is because we're using this table calendar plugin. I'm going to come back here, add this dependency. And now we can go ahead and compile it. Next, we're going to test this widget out to see if it works as expected. Here I have placed it, and I'm passing in some sample unavailable dates. Okay, so these dates should be grayed out, as well as any of the previous dates that you can't book anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and see if this works. And here's our custom widget while we're testing it. As you can see, all the previous dates are crossed out. You can't select them, as well as the 3 dates that we have specified that are unavailable. You can select them as well, but you can select any of the other dates. Okay, so you can go forward and you can select pretty much any other date except the ones that are in the past or the ones that we have specified are unavailable. Okay, and so next I'm going to go ahead and create a UI so that the user can select other check-in and check-out dates and see if those dates are available or not. I'm going to go ahead and display this widget as a component, so it has this pop-up effect. We're going to be passing 2 parameters here, the unavailable dates and whether this is a check-in or a checkout pop-up. So if this is a check-in, this is going to be true, and that way we will know which dates that we are working with. And this right here is the result. So if we click here, we see the current month. And if I go forward, we have some days that are blacked out because I've specified those dates to be blacked out. And the same thing for the checkout, right? So I can select any of these other dates. That's fine. and the system will know about it, but I cannot select the blackout dates. The next piece of the puzzle is creating this Claude MCP function that's going to return the blackout dates, okay? So we're going to go back over here. We're going to say get unavailable dates, and we're going to return a list of dates. I'm just going to do them as string, and the parameters is going to be the listing ID. And this is our boilerplate. Next, we're going to jump into cursor and do the same thing as before. And we have this boilerplate here. And here's the prompt that we're going to be using. Create a Firebase callable cloud function JavaScript named this that accepts a single parameter, queries, calculates, returns, etc., etc. Let's go ahead and run this. All right, so this is the resulting function here. We're going to go ahead and save it. Then we're going to go ahead and push back to FlutterFlow. And here's the function in FlutterFlow. Now, as usual, it's a good idea to test it out. Okay, so here I am testing this function. I'm passing a listing ID 3, and these are the blackout dates, the unavailable dates. If I try, let's say 4, I'm going to have other dates. If I try, let's say 2, I might see other dates. Okay, so this is working as intended. Okay, we have the dates right here, and which means that now we can run this function on this page, get the dates, and pass them to our custom widget. I'm going to go ahead and create the page state variable to save those dates. And so now we have this really nice behavior. So I can search for new listings. We have a listing right here, and then it checks the unavailable dates. And as soon as it has the unavailable dates, it's going to display this right here. So we can change the dates. And as you can see, May going forward, everything is available. And then we have a couple of dates unavailable here that you cannot pick. Okay, right here. But you can pick any other date, right? So you can select this date, and the app knows about it. And it's going to be set right here, as well as the checkout is going to be set right there. Okay, let me go ahead and fix that. And here, instead of the check bar, we're going to have a condition that's going to check whether this is a check-in pop-up or a checkout pop-up. If it's a check-in pop-up, we're going to set the date for the check-in. And delete this right here. And so now we have these 2 dates set, and that means that we can display them right here. And this is the result. We have the dates. Now I can select it. I can pick, let's say, this. And now it shows this, and I can do a checkout, but I cannot select these dates. Next, let's go ahead and create the booking summary screen. This is what the page looks like. Let's go ahead and try out the whole flow. And so this is what the user sees. Now, as you can see, we have guests hard-coded to 4, and that is because this is something that we need to extract. So the idea is, initially, when the user enters their query, they're going to specify the number of guests. We're going to extract that number, and we're going to save it in the system, okay? And for us to do that, we need to modify this Claude function to extract the number of guests. So I'm going to go ahead, jump into cursor. I'm going to select this Claude function, and I'm going to ask it to extract the number of guests. Okay, so this is my prompt: extract the number of guests from the user's query and output it along with the available listings. And I'm going to go ahead and select this model right here, and let's see how it performs. All right, so it finished generating. We're gonna hit accept, and now if you scroll down, you can see that it's returning the listings as well as the number of guests. Next, I'm gonna sync this function with the stuff that we have in FlutterFlow. I'm gonna go ahead and deploy it, and I definitely want to test it out to make sure that it works as expected. So we have this function over here, and I'm gonna specify guests. I'm gonna say for 3 guests. Okay, there it is. So it's successfully extracting the number of guests, and this is really nice because the user can simply enter their freeform text and we get all the data. So now, seeing this, we can go back to FlutterFlow and we can save the number of guests in the app state variable so that it's saved throughout their booking. And so over here, we want to extract the number of guests and we want to update our variable. So now this needs to be set to listings, and then this is going to be set to guests. And this is our app flow. So if I say something like for 3 nights here, it's going to extract the number of nights and make it into a variable in our app. And if we take a look here, you can see that we have 3 guests. That is the only thing that we're extracting right now. We can also extract check-in and check-out, which is something that I'm going to do as well. But for now, this is what we have. Have this loaded, and then we have this as well. And so we have the dates. We can update the dates. We see the available, not available, etc., etc. And if we go into book now, we're going to display this guess here because we have this as a variable now. So if we go into booking summary, we can simply come over here and guess, and this is not a parameter, it's actually an app state variable. So now it's gonna display the guess correctly as well. And next, I want to calculate the number of nights, and we can do that by calculating what the user picked over here on the detail page, right? Because we have 2 pickers here. And so what we can essentially have is a custom function that's gonna calculate the number of days, the number of nights. We can say get number of nights, and I'm just gonna do a integer. And the arguments is just check in as a string and check out. All good. And now we can jump back into cursor, pull all of this, and create this function. And if you go into custom functions, you can see this custom function. Finish the get number of nights function, which is going to calculate the number of nights from check-in to check-out and return the integer value. Do not modify the other. And here's the code. We're going to go ahead and copy just the body. So between this brace and this, copy this and paste it in here. Okay, then you can simply save it. And you can also test it out, right? So if you come over here and if you put a date such as this and you run that, it's going to give you the number of nights. Okay, and then we have 10 nights, which is correct. So now if you go into booking summary, we can display the number of nights here. Okay, so price per night times number of nights. So we can simply go over here, scroll down to our custom functions, get number of nights, and pass in the value. Check in and check out. Okay, so this is the whole flow. We're going to search for something, find the listing. Let's say we want to change the dates, 21, this. And so that says 8 nights. This says 3 guests, which is correct. And that is 8 nights. From this to this, we just have a small formatting issue. We just need to calculate that. And there you have it. 3 guests, 180 times 3 is 540. We just need to format it. These are the days. That is the name. We need an image, and we are almost done. So I went ahead and I changed this so that we can have a map view as well. So if you click this, we go to the map view. Click here, we go to the list view. Now, one issue we have is that by default, when the app loads, when the page loads, there's no listings here. The listings only appear after the user searches. And so by default, we want to display the original listings here, okay? So the way that you do it is you initially get the data from the Supabase database and you feed it into this page state, which in turn will display the data. And then if the user decides to search for something more specific, we're going to update the page state, and this is going to automatically rebuild. So let's go ahead and make sure that there's some original initial data that's being displayed here. And here we can use a loop to do it, right? So we get the results, we go through each element, and here I'm going to create a custom action that's going to take a Supabase row and create a JSON that's going to be added into page state. And it's going to return this JSON. We're going to go ahead and save that, jump into cursor, and let cursor do its magic. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and paste this. Copy that here. And now we can simply parse the row. We can get the row. This is this. And give us back the JSON. So this is our JSON object here. And then we can save it, add it to page state here. We're going to simply add it to the list, action outputs, JSON object. And there you have it. We have the original list nicely displayed over here. And because we're getting it from Supabase, you can do all the filtering, all the ordering, anything that you want in Supabase, and you're going to get the exact data that you want. And now, if you change this, if you have this query here, let's say you want 3 guests, and you search it, you're going to get this updated with new data. And now you have this new data over here. You can click this, and you have the complete flow. So I fixed the app a little bit. I added some images here so that you can click on it, and it's loading landmarks over here. Here we have some landmarks here in Portland. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to have this mapping, right? So we have the list view. And then when we click the map, I want to have these items displayed there correctly, okay? And I also want to assign kind of the center point so that everything is centered. And remember, this function here, it gives us a list, right? So we have these coordinates, okay? So it would be nice if this function can also calculate the center of the map and maybe the zoom point, okay? So it knows like how far to zoom out or how far to zoom in, that kind of thing, okay? So we need the center point and we need the zoom point. So I'm going to go ahead and update this function here. Where is it? This one right here, get available listings. And so what we need to do is we need to have it return along with guests. We need to have it return the center as well as the zoom point as well. Get available listings, and we need it to modify so it returns the other stuff as well. All right, so it went ahead and created a bunch of functions. We have calculate center and calculate zoom level. And it also has a couple of other calculations where I determine zoom level based on spread. These values are approximate. So it looks at the spread, this max spread that it calculated somewhere before. And based on that, it gives back the zoom level. So let's go ahead and see if this works. I'm going to go ahead and copy this just to keep things very, very simple. Come back here and just paste this over. And we're going to go ahead and deploy it. All right, now this has been deployed, and let's go ahead and test it out and see if it does what we need it to do. And there you have it. So now in addition to all of this, we're getting the center and we're getting the zoom level. And for this to work, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save these values in a page state variable. And now we can load up the map over here. And for the initial center, we're going to do page state center. And zoom level is going to be, you can just search for it, zoom level here. And then let's make sure that we have these variables set. So if you search something for 3 guests over here, let's say, we have this, and if we do a map view, this is what we see. We're not displaying the actual item. We are only displaying the zoom level and the center. So we're centering it on exactly where it should be. Okay, New York, this is New York. And so the next thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that we display the actual point as well. And for that, what we need to do is we need to have a page state variable that contains the points. So I'm going to say points, and this is lat long, and this is a list. And then what we need is once we get a list, we need to get the points and convert them here. And that's really easy. So all we need to do is once the user searches, we need to have a function that's going to go through the list and get a list of lat longs and save them as a page state variable. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to create a custom action. And this custom action is going to say get list of chords. And the return is going to be a list of lat longs, which is what it expects. And the arguments are going to be the list of JSONs that we get back. And come back into cursor. This is the function over here. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new chat and say, all done. And so it's going through the list, and then it's seeing if there's a lat long. If there is, it creates this coordinates, which is a list of lat longs, and sends it back to us. Okay, and so now I'm going to go ahead and copy the body and paste it in here and delete this last part. And this will provide a list of lat long objects that we can use in our map. So if we come back over here, open this up, we have this custom action, and this is going to be now not a custom action. It's going to be this get a list of lat longs. We're going to pass this list of JSONs, which is this thing over here. And that's going to give us back a list of lat long. And once we get this list, we can simply update page state. And that's it. And that will set the list of lat long. And now we can click on the map, and now we can say multiple here, page state points. So if I search this, click on the map view, and now we have a pointer here. Now I can say find listings in Aspen. Okay, search that, and now I can go to the map view, and there's the pointer, right? It's right at the center because that's kind of how we have. And if you click here, by the way, it goes back to the initial screen here. So I went ahead and added a couple of other listings for New York. And now if you do this, you will see more listings. So now we have 3 listings, and you click on map view, you see how they're all being displayed. They're all in the zoom area. Now the next thing I want to work on is payments. Okay, so when the user clicks here and everything loads and they select their dates and everything, and they click on book now, they have this confirmation screen. We need to charge them here. Okay, and we're going to be using Stripe. And the way that this is going to work is that we are going to create a session, after which we're going to get a URL. We're going to redirect the user to the URL, and that's where the user is going to pay for everything. Everything is going to be pre-filled, including the name, maybe description, the price, etc., etc. And then after they pay, we're going to get notified so that we can update the booking so that we know that they successfully paid. Now, to get started, we need to create a Claude function that will initiate this payment flow, and this is called a checkout session. And so here I have a name of the function called create dynamic checkout session. We have all of these parameters that we're going to be sending in via the app, things like listing title, description, amount, currency, all of these things. And once we send all of this in, it's going to create the whole flow. So it's going to display stuff to the user, they're going to get charged, and we're going to get notified. Now, to create this function, we're going to be using cursor. And so here's our boilerplate for the function here. This is the prompt that I'm going to be using. Write a Firebase callable Cloud function, etc. It needs to take these parameters. And this right here is the function. And as you can see, it's going to return this URL that we need to redirect the user to. So I'm going to go ahead and take this function right here, come back into FlutterFlow and replace all of this. Next, I'm going to go ahead and deploy this function. And while it's deploying, we're going to go ahead and configure it. And so when the user clicks this button, we're going to execute this function and redirect the user to the resulting URL. Going to pass all the values that we have for the listing. We need to get the number of nights and multiply it by the price. And then we need to multiply it by 100. Currency is USD. And for the booking ID, we need to first create the booking before we can do this, because we're going to be getting this booking back. And so as the user is filling this out, they're going to get charged this amount. And this is dynamically generated. It's dynamically displayed. So if I hit pay, it's going to go ahead and process their credit card. And here we are redirecting to a random site on success, right? So this could be a URL somewhere, or a part of your app, or a confirmation page, etc., etc. Now, after the person pays, we need to listen for events and mark them in our database. Our app needs to know that this person has successfully paid for their booking. And we do that by listening for events from Stripe, and that is done using webhooks. And so I'm going to set up my webhooks right now and show you how we can listen for events and update our app that the user has successfully been paid. And so if you go into Stripe over here, you can set up your webhooks. Okay, we're obviously using the test mode right now, but what we can do here is we can create an event destination here, and we need to specify an endpoint URL. We have an optional description, but most importantly, we can select the events that we're interested in. Okay, now the event that we want to be listening to is this checkout event. And what we care about is this checkout session completed. Okay, this occurs when a checkout session has been successfully completed. Now you can listen for more events, but this is the main event that we care about. Okay, so we're going to add this event over here. And now we need to specify an endpoint URL. Now in production and when you're building your app, you need to have a webhook here. Okay, but what I like to do is I like to first test this webhook and see what kind of data I'm getting, right? So that I can see how to structure my app to best take advantage of the data that we're getting back. And for that, I'm going to be using a tool called webhook.site, which allows me to test the webhook. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste this here, and I'm going to add this endpoint. And now it's going to be waiting for events. And so now I'm going to go back to my app, and I'm going to run through the whole flow and see what kind of events I get back. The main event that I care about is the booking ID, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and do this again. All right, so I just paid, and this is the webhook that I got back, all of this. Now let's take a look. So as you can see, we have the amount, which was 540, which I believe was 130 times 3 nights, and this is multiplied by 100, so this is absolutely correct. And if we scroll down, we have all the customers' info, we have all of that, and what we are looking for is the booking, right? We care about the booking, and there's the booking, okay? That will tie us back to the booking that the customer that we have created while the customer was going through the process. And now we can see, because we have the webhook, that the booking has been successfully provisioned. The customer has paid. And here in our booking table, you can see that we have this booking ID 12 that we have just created, and it is pending, okay? And now that we've gotten back a confirmation for this specific booking ID, we can extract it and mark it as paid, as completed, okay? And that way, the whole circle is complete. The customer started the session, they successfully paid, and we're gonna mark it as complete in our app. Next, we're gonna go ahead and build a Claude function to handle the webhooks from Stripe and update our Supabase database so that our system knows that the reservation, the booking has been fully paid for. And so here in Cloud Functions, I'm going to go ahead and create a new Cloud function called handle Stripe webhook. We're going to be returning a JSON, and we're going to generate our boilerplate, save this, and now I'm back in Cursor with the function here. And here I'm going to use this prompt to generate this webhook handler. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and execute this. And basically what's happening here is we are verifying the data that's coming from Stripe, and we're updating the booking ID with the booking ID that we got here, and we are marking it as paid. Okay, the status is going to be marked as paid. I'm going to go ahead and copy all of this, jump back into FlutterFlow, paste it here, and I need to make sure that I specify my keys here. I'm going to be using a service key here instead of a none, because this is a backend function. Nobody can see the key anyway, and it's a lot better to use a service key here. Next, we're going to reveal our signing secret here. We're going to copy this, jump back here, and update this as well. Next, we're going to hit save. Going to go ahead and deploy this. Okay, deployed successfully. We're going to confirm and pay. Okay, successfully redirected. Come back here, and as you can see, we have a new booking that's paid. Automatically created, automatically provisioned. All right, so I fixed up the app a little bit to make it a little bit nicer, and here's the flow. So the user searches for this. We're going to go in here. They get the results. Now they can click on the map view, and they see the items here. They can zoom in, zoom out. Okay, go back to the list view, and let's say they want this one right here. Once they click it, it says here, loading nearby landmarks. Okay, so it's going to figure out what's around it to show to the users. You can see there's lots of things happening. The user understands the value of this location. This is awesome. This is actually something that Airbnb should definitely implement. And we can look at our check-in and check-out. So we can, let's say, check in here and check out here. And obviously, all the dates in the past, as well as the dates that have been already booked, are not going to show up, meaning that they're going to be crossed out. They won't be selectable. So we can select this. We can go to book now. We have this confirmation screen, right? Everything is displayed. There's 2 nights, 3 guests, $180 times 2. That's $360. We're going to say confirm and pay. That's going to go ahead and start the Stripe session. $360 right here. And we're going to go ahead and fill all of this out. Click pay. Okay, so now that has been paid, we get redirected to the success screen. Go back here, and we should have a new entry right here that was just created. $360, 3 guests, and it has been confirmed to pay. And so that's the magic of Claude MCP. Instead of hard coding everything or cluttering up your app with extra widgets, you offload the intelligence to the backend, which keeps your FlutterFlow app lean, fast, and way more powerful. You're not just saving time, you're adding value. Claude can understand what the user wants, convert it into structured logic, and send back exactly what your app needs. And we're only scratching the surface. Here are just a few more things that you can offload to Claude. You can suggest the best listings based on vague user input, auto-generate review summaries, build smart filters and search logic, create dynamic forms on the fly, detect problems or complaints in reviews. You can also trigger workflows like host reminders or cleaning requests. By plugging Claude into your backend, you're not just building no-code apps, you're building smart, context-aware, and scalable platforms. And that's a huge upgrade. I'll definitely be building all my apps this way going forward. And you should too.